Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. So today I'm going to do a quick little walk around in my car and show you guys what I have done to it, exterior, interior, and what I've done to the engine. So I have had a few people asking me like my suspension setup and all that, so I thought I would just make like a quick video and go ahead and go over all the things that I've done. But first, let's get you a cold start video. After some driving around, I was able to find a good spot to go ahead and take some photos and give you guys a good walk around of the car. So let's start with the outside of the car. So in front, right when I got the car, I was looking on Craigslist just for some mods and stuff like that, and I actually came across a guy who clears or blacks out and can do any sort of mod to these little amber markers that were here. So I had him put some black, or like, it's kind of like a matte gray finish vinyl just over the markers, and I think it looks great. Kind of blacks out the car, gets rid of those boring factory colors. The next thing that I did was the ECS tuning grill delete. Basically just replaced it with a honeycomb grill, kind of like on the RS4s, and took off the S4 badge, left the Audi emblem. I think it looks good. However, it does kind of make people think it's an A4 from the front sometimes. That's okay, doesn't bother me too much. The next thing, I guess we'll just go from the front. So recently installed the APR carbon splitter with the support rods. I'm going to also be adding a little more kind of aero stuff underneath to try and get the drag down on the car. Next, the VMR 718 wheels. They are a 19 by 9.5 with a 45 offset. That's kind of like the sweet spot for this car if you want to run really wide tires. I only have 265 3019 Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss. These are great tires. I absolutely love them. But I think the next set will definitely be wider. I'll go with a 275 4019. It's going to be fitting the fender nicely. As you can tell, there's a little gap in there. Not too much, but something that I would definitely like to improve on. The next thing would be the brakes that I did. I had to upgrade the brakes because they are kind of weak on this car. So I went with StopTech slotted rotors, and then I did Hawk Street Race pads in the front. And on the back, I have Hawk HP Plus pads. They're more track-oriented pads, but they are pretty good for the street. They do squeal a little bit, but that doesn't bother me. All right. So next, the car does have a slight window tint. It came this way when I bought it. It's from Lamar, I think. It's like a 50% tint. It's pretty light, but it definitely helps with the heat. Well, the cops just came by. He walked around my car for a minute, thought it was pretty cool. That's good. Now onto the back. So I bought this used. This is an Enlius carbon ducktail. It is not really a high kick one. It's a little less aggressive. It goes more out on the back of the car. You can kind of tell it from here. Since I bought it used, it does have a little fade, and it has a little crack right here. It was the best one I could find, and I didn't really want the high kick one. I like this one because of the style and how it goes out. So I just went with it. The next thing is the ECS tuning carbon diffuser. So for this, I actually spent a few months. I don't know if you guys can see it. There we go. So I spent a few months looking around on the diffuser that I wanted. I didn't want one that everyone had. but I kind of was really limited to my options. I was also looking, or I guess I was kind of waiting for Carbon Imports, I believe the brand is. They were talking about releasing a diffuser and it being somewhat similar to this one, but I just had some problems with my exhaust, and I lost one of the exhaust tips, and then it started melting my bumper. So I don't know if you can tell, my cover's gone here. This actually melted off from when one of the exhaust tips was gone, and it also melted the clips that run right here. So the stock diffuser kind of was sagging a lot, so I just went ahead and ordered this one. I couldn't wait any longer, so I just got this one for now. We'll see if I can get something else in the future, but I do have some other things on the list for the car. So next we can talk about suspension. I don't have too much on the car right now, but I plan on doing coilovers in the future. So I have H&R Sport Springs, I believe they're called. No, you can't even see them. But they're the blue ones. They lowered the car probably about 1.5 inches. And then I also have H&R sway bars front and rear. Those are a 30, I don't even know, 30 something maybe in the front and a 24, 25 in the rear. I just have those with the stock end links, and I plan to upgrade the end links in the future because I would like to tighten up the back of the car a little more, because it does kind of push in the front. I think the front might be a little too tight along with the splitter. So that's definitely something I have to work with on dialing in. And for exhaust, I have AWE Touring exhaust with the 102mm polished tips. I really enjoy this exhaust. It's not the loudest one on the market. I would say that the track version is a lot louder. It still keeps the same kind of note, I guess you could say, but it's definitely louder since it doesn't have the rear mufflers. And then I have stock downpipes, and I still have cats. I plan on changing that in the future here. Let's see, what can we go over next? All right, let's go ahead and pop the hood. So before we go over this, I have the dirtiest engine bay you've ever seen. I had the coolant reservoir hose, one of them popped off while I was driving, and it was spraying coolant everywhere, and it was smoking, and it was a mess. I thought my engine blew up. So here is what my engine bay looks like. On one of the videos before, I had installed a rockier intake. I actually changed that out for the stock airbox. I ported the airbox, different filter, and then I have an AWE tuning inlet hose. So the power difference, I'm not really sure on the butt dyno. It feels about the same. I did this because I didn't want to have to worry about getting pulled over and having a cop question me too much about the mods on my car. Visually, it looks modified, so I kind of wanted to keep it as stock as possible here in the engine bay. So now we can go over the tuning that I've done to the car to get power. So I have 034's dual pulley file. That includes the supercharger pulley upgrade right here. And you can't really see it, but down there is a crank pulley. That's the JHM crank pulley. And then I have the CTS turbo. I think it's a 57.1 supercharger pulley. I'm not sure the ratios. A lot of people talk about like a 25% ratio or something like that. So I just know that I have a 3.27 pulley ratio, and that's not too aggressive, but it's kind of like right in the middle. It really winds out the supercharger. I think the max it does is 25,000 RPM. Other guys have like the 210 crank pulley, and they're going all the way up to like 27,000. So I'm trying not to push the supercharger too much, at least until I have some more money aside to do some more building with the engine. And then to help with those, I have a charge cooler here. I still have the stock coolant pump, but I plan on upgrading that in the future with the AWE pump, just because there isn't really another one on the market that I think works well. And I have the Merc Racing charge cooler. So I like it so far. It's a quad pass as opposed to a lot of the other companies which offer a dual pass. I don't have a data logger, so I can't really compare any numbers with other people yet. I plan on doing that soon. And that's about it for engine performance. Let's see. Another thing we can go over on the interior. Last week I had my stock fuel pump go out. I replaced that, and then it died on me the next morning. So then I replaced the fuel pump control module, and it's been running well so far. I've done about 200 miles, and it hasn't died on me. But what I always wanted to do and always talked about was removing the seats. So I removed the bottom cover right here, and I plan to remove this one, the backing. But you can actually hear the exhaust a lot more, and you can hear the fuel pump kind of humming. It's kind of cool. Makes you feel like you're in a race car. I enjoy it. Maybe I'm a child. It's okay. Well, I believe that's all for the car. I plan on doing a lot more mods in the future. Downpipes, test pipes. I'd like to get some different wheels, coilovers, maybe bags, we'll see. And there's so much more in store for this car. It's just a matter of time. I've only had it for a year and 4 months or so. So I hope you guys stick with it and enjoy the build as it goes. And thanks for tuning in and watching this video. I will see you guys on the next one.